Hello, everybody. There is nobody here. That's on me. I ain't really in say I was doing a stream. That's okay. Things will get better. But I hope everyone is doing well who might watch this later. Who knows? I am Dutton and introducing one of my best friends, also a comic nerd. You could say he's a blade. If you know what that means, you know what that means. Ladies and gentlemen, I call him Earthworm Jim, but you can call him Dion.
Yo, what's up, D? And one more time, call me
What's
Earthworm
up?
Jim, whatever, man. But yeah, so apparently we're rocking the hats today, I guess.
We
It's
are.
cool.
Hey, it's winter time. North Carolina's weather a little crazy. Kind of losing my voice a little bit because of all the rain and stuff. It's okay. It's okay.
Word.
Keep it moving.
So, that's where we go. Just keep moving. But
Yeah.
we've been wanting to do this for a minute now. Even my fiance said like this is something we should have been done since we spent hours upon hours talking about these sort of conversations and everything like that. So it's nice to
Oh
finally
yeah.
do it.
Oh yeah. I
So
mean, tonight's gonna be tonight's night one. It's
mhm.
whatever. It's gonna be an easy night. Very short night. I gotta leave in like 30 minutes. Plus, I'm losing my voice. I don't really want to be talking too long.
I get you. So, real quickly, because I've always wanted to ask this question: what's your favorite superhero or favorite comic book character of all time?
Ooh, favorite comic book character. Huh. I would say Thor, just because
Okay.
I just enjoy myths in general,
Mhm.
and it is interesting to see how Marvel kind of played with that a little bit.
Mhm.
Um, Although that being said, there are a lot of crappy Thor stories. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. Like there are some bad ones. Um, when it comes, like I don't know, I would say I'm more of an indie guy, just
Mhm.
because when it comes to Marvel and DC, it is very hit or miss. Like I love Hal Jordan Green Lantern of
Mhm.
like Jeff Johns' run, and then there are also other Green Lantern writers that I'm like, I think you fucking suck. Same thing with Thor. Like there are runs on Thor that is like this is the greatest thing ever, and then there is like who gave you this job?
You're wrong. Because there are a couple times
Um,
where,
and see that's why I'm kind of like digging the more indie stuff is because it's like, all right, well this is the creator, this is his creation, and he's pretty much not going to leave this creation. So from that, I would say Death from East to West, which is an
mhm.
Image comic, 45 issues, fantastic. And it's because Death is pretty much Clint Eastwood, and I think that is dope as fuck.
Okay. All
Um,
right.
Back at you. Who's your favorite comic character?
Okay,
I
so you
already
want
know,
me?
but people who don't
Yeah,
know probably will
for
discover.
me, it's going to be Nightwing, which is weird because I can't stand him as Robin. I've just really learned this. But anytime he transitions into Nightwing itself, he's like a class A superhero for me. Plus anything that Chuck Dixon was it back in the 90s. Um,
You
when
know
he
what
did
though?
those,
Chuck Dixon is a dude who I've actually had the pleasure of talking to before.
mhm,
He is a writer's writer. Like the man is how can I explain? Not a writer's writer, but a blue collar writer. Like he will just be like, yo, give me a character, I'll just go to work and his stories might not be like super, oh, this is so deep. No, no, no. It is here's meat and potatoes. Here you go. You're gonna love it.
yeah. See, what he did with Nightwing were some of my favorites. I can't lie. It was that's what I was trying to get in comics, and I had started with what was it? It was Identity Crisis and Crisis on Infinite Earths. So those were the ones I got introduced into. And you know me, I could jump into anything and not care about, well, who's this? Who's that? Da 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 da. I just jump in and start enjoying. But once I kind of read more on Nightwing, read Chuck Dixon's run, that sealed it for me, and I've been loving it ever since. Recently, Nightwing's been a lot of hit and miss. Like I read in one of the recent stuff, they said he's gonna do something like he's gonna give away all his wealth by the end of it. I think it was when Batman became pretty much a millionaire instead of a billionaire, and Alfred died, and Nightwing then inherited a bunch of money, which I said that's stupid. I wouldn't be giving up all my money, but that's just me. If I had to say, I have a second.
Yeah. So you're talking about like Tom Taylor's run, which you know what I understand because Tom Taylor, sorry about it. He's good at Elseworld stories, I think. Main stories. Also, like let's time out. All right, like in comics, a billionaire, millionaire, who the fuck gives a shit? Like the only reason, really, technically, why like Bruce Wayne or whatever is a billionaire is just so writers could write whatever gadget they wanted to, and it's like, oh, how's he got a Batmobile and Bat helicopter? And it's like, oh, you know what? He's just super rich. Fuck it, he's just super rich. Okay, like that was the only, and also like the whole, oh well, if he only donated, like comics, especially Marvel and DC, they're superhero comics. An exciting story is like Joker holding someone hostage or whatever. Batman goes, fights, whatever. You know, exciting fight action comic. My opinion. But if you go, hey, let's do a detailed comic of what if Batman gave all the money and did social programs, that'd be a boring ass fucking read.
I hate that. Honestly, I really hate that thing now because it's whether Batman, why doesn't he invest more in Gotham City? I'm just like, y'all really sit back and think about it. I'm not a Batman fan, I can't stand it. Him and the Wolverine, I can't stand them because they're just. I'll go into further detail later on, but I can't stand them sometimes. But to me, I'm like, you want Batman to invest in the Gotham. Gotham is that type of city where it's garbage. It's almost as bad as Atlantis, but it's garbage. Where like you got one billionaire, yeah, he's rich, but he's got to fund these programs that got to go to the government that's corrupt. Oh, why doesn't he do ABC? Well, guess what? You got the Court of Owls that are also made of millionaires, billionaires. So you got one nice billionaire in a city full of corrupt politicians and corrupt other billionaires. So if you ask me, it's kind of like, who's gonna win? Odds are not stacked against, and I'm pretty sure he's funded a lot of stuff, but it's just didn't go well. So that's why I don't like that new saying of, well, he wants to be a superhero, but he can easily end all the corruption in Gotham. No, he cannot. He can't come close to that corruption. So that's just always been my very personal opinion about that new wave of Batman can end all of this by giving up his money. I'm like, that's not going to solve anything. And that's another reason why I'm trying to scratch my head like Dick Grayson says, by the time I'm done with all of this, I will become broke. And I'm like, why would you break your pockets for that? You can do more good being rich and setting up programs and doing stuff like that, then I'm not going to fund anything else anymore. But I haven't thought of it. It was just a news article. It was an article I found, and I was like, I'm not. Like, hey, to all power to him. Dick Grayson works better when he's kind of on a budget anyway, but it just didn't sound right to me. But yeah. But other than that, though, I've been wanting to talk to you about this. So DC's new movie coming out with James Gunn and Hell. What's your thoughts on it?
You know what? Let's actually give me one second. I'm actually about to do something kind of cool. Maybe I should have. If I was smarter, I would have already had it loaded, but it is what it is. Sorry about it. So when it comes to the movies, it's mixed review. We can go through them because it's what is it? 5 movies, 5 TV shows,
Yeah, I read
all in
some.
the
I
same universe, which starts in 2025 with Superman Legacy.
yeah.
So let's start with Superman Legacy first, right?
Okay.
Because I'll read the description that they kind of gave is we'll follow Kal-El, aka Superman, as he reconciles his extraterrestrial origins with his human family and upbringing. It's pretty much rebooting the thing, and they said, hey, we want to be more uh, inspiring, and they even said in the thing like, hey, he is the Boy Scout that is about truth, justice, and American way, which hilariously on the internet's gonna internet. When they announced that a couple of days ago, people on Twitter was like, "Ooh, American way." Ooh. A lot of people were like, "Not." Oh, isn't it better tomorrow? It is what it is. Internet's gonna internet. People are gonna get mad at that. Whatever.
That's really bad.
I think cool. As long as Superman is inspirational and they actually know that. Uh, and again, it's like 2 years out, so it's hard to, no actors are even attached to any of these.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to judge on that. I do think in 2 years, some people might forgive Warner Brothers for firing Henry Cavill because that dude is beloved by people.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's
Unfortunately, Zack Snyder's take on Superman, I think, fucking sucked. Like the writing in the old universe with Henry Cavill, that was a very depressing ass Superman, and he shouldn't have been.
My opinion about this, I told you before, when it comes to the DCEU, Zack Snyder, to me, it's weird because I get a lot of pushback for this. He starts off strong, middle he dies. By the ending, I'm so tired by the middle, I don't really care, but it still picks up again. So for me, it goes like out of his trilogy. It goes Man of Steel at the bottom. I kind of was just bored at that one. I didn't care about him snapping Zod's neck. I had to think back on it, and I was like, am I mad at that, or am I just? I was just bored with it. Batman vs Superman was better than Man of Steel, and
That's crazy because I have those two like flipped. I have Man of Steel better than Batman, Superman, and it's just because Doomsday. That was an awful Doomsday design.
What you're not wrong, but apparently it's supposed to be a baby Doomsday or something like that. But what made it better for me was because I have certain things I said like, look, if you can at least get this stuff right, I will say that this is better. So for me, because at that point, like Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman were kind of on the same wavelength, but what kind of made it better was first off, I was mad at the Batman vs Superman actual fight. I thought it was black. Like literally,
you know what? I also think that Zack Snyder was really a mixed bag of he either hit home runs with the casting, or he just like swung so hard, struck out, and fell completely on his face. Like Lex Luthor did not like, was awful. Henry Cavill, perfect. You know what? Jason Momoa doesn't quite look like Aquaman, but he has certain characteristic. Aquaman made $1 billion. Wonder Woman, great casting. The Flash, I think was fucking awful as casting, and there's a lot of legal issues with that now. Particular actor.
If you look back on it, Jason Momoa would have played a perfect Aquaman son. Like you read Peter David's Aquaman, and you read his son. Shocking, you probably would be perfect for him.
You know what? I know a lot of people are asking him to be Lobo, which I think would actually be the best casting. But Lobo's not on the slate. But you know what is on the slate? Is The Authority, which is a 1990s comic under like Wildstorm imprint. So it wasn't even DC. DC bought Wildstorm from Jim Lee.
Yeah.
And The Authority is 7 superheroes uh, that it. I have issues with the Authority being in the universe because
Mhm.
they're almost like a mix of they're supposed to be like a Justice League knockoff, kind of like the
Yeah.
boys,
Mm.
where it's hey, they take justice in their own hands. They're not as corrupt as the boys or whatever, but they are almost as deadly as the boys
Hmm.
compared to like DC Justice League, which isn't all that like they're not killing out, they're not
Yeah.
murking people. The Authority will murk somebody, all right. Um, and the Authority being in a connected universe, it feels like a clash of ideologies, which could be cool, but having almost like a lawless, not almost non superhero universe,
Mm.
well, non superheroes flying around in the universe is kind of what made the Authority kind of entertaining. Was all right. Well, we don't have a bunch of heroes all together. Well, some people kind of got together and said, all right, well, we're gonna try to cause a little bit of order, but you know,
Yeah.
and that's kind of
Oh,
like some early issues. I know they've rebooted the Authority several times. Um, so I've definitely not caught up to date. Um,
is I'm forgetting
but I
his
think it'd be better
name.
if it was like its own, like still do it. I think it would be cool.
Mhm.
Own universe, not. It's one of those like you try doing the boys in the DC universe. You'd be like, this is an issue.
Because they're too kind. Well,
But that's kind of
well, actually, no, I actually, because I'm looking up Thor because I won't lie, like my that's why you're the lead in this one. My comic book knowledge, anything outside DC, is not the strongest, so that's why I'll be leaning on you and get my own opinion and I'll read up on some of that stuff. But so Midnight, that's who I was thinking about. So it could work because Midnight with Nightwing has actually been pretty good anytime they've interacted. Actually, pretty funny. Like even
yeah.
Midnight said, like you have a nice ass, so I always laugh at that. Then Midnight was supposed to be on a team with Superman. Read the first issue. Something about it I just couldn't get past the first issue. So it could work as like a
I
government funded anti Justice League. Like we see that the superheroes are kind of getting rampant, or we need like an anti superhero thing to go against them. So let's create the Authority, and it could work that way if
mean,
they want.
either way, I think Jim Lee is happy because Jim Lee is just basically like, cool, cool. I am so excited about this residual check.
Well, it's another thing that they could do though that would help out, and I mean,
I
hey, it's
think
all
like
part of getting
Jim
ahead.
Lee is probably the most excited about the Authority being a thing. Um, Now, I think this one might be the one of the best movies out of the group
Mhm.
is The Brave and the Bold, which is going to be Batman and Robin story. Honestly, I think this is kind of a placeholder. I do think when it does come out, will come closer. It will say the Batman Brave and the Bold or Batman Brave and the Bold.
Mhm.
Batman's name is too much of a marketing juggernaut, not to
Knock it out the
put
park.
just to put it on there.
Yeah.
Um, but here's the thing: is they said that this is supposed to be a father and son story based on the Grant Morrison series because it's not Dick Grayson, who was the first Robin. It's
Mhm.
Damian Wayne, who is the latest Robin, and actually Bruce Wayne's biological son. They said that this is supposed to be a movie that introduces the Bat family, so like we might get Dick Grayson as Nightwing like cameo or Batwoman cameo or Batgirl cameo. Maybe Jason Todd's Red Hood. Maybe Jason Todd is dead and still not Red Hood.
Tim Drake.
There's a lot of possibilities with this, and you know what? I think this is the first time since the George Clooney Batman that there's been an actual Robin.
Yeah, I guess
The nipple suits. You know what I'm talking about? They had the nipple suits.
Don't forget the booty pants. Don't forget the booty.
Yeah, because what was it? Nolan's trilogy. It ended with the dude kind of taking over, and like the end trilogy, and like the password is Robin is like, oh, he's supposed to be not really Robin though. Doesn't count. Get the fuck out of here with that.
I was about to say that. Technically, if you want to go with the Nolan trilogy, I guess.
Yeah, but I mean, he wasn't Robin. He wasn't. Robin was kind of like a pass. I don't count it. That's a hard. But like an actual Robin in the Robin suit or a Robin suit, Brave and the Bold, which it's Batman. Batman prints money.
Yeah, true.
I
mean, like, I might be a Batman fan, but I'll say one thing: they make some damn good stories out of Batman.
You know what? I'm not quite a Batman fan, but I will say I do find Batman movies entertaining. And the fact that they're going with now, curiosity thing is George Clooney when the Robin was already like 20. Like the 90s, where like Robin was like 20. He had like his license and everything. So they had an adult actor. I wonder how people are gonna react seeing like kid actor fighting crime. Like it kind of works in comics and kind of works in cartoons, but a lot of times you try to translate that to live actions, like, well, people be like, really a 10-year-old?
Yeah, little 10-year-old beat up full grown ass man.
10-year-old running a fade on like some 30-year-old gangsters? I don't know. That can be like Damien is a trained assassin, so like weapons kind of evens that out. If using more weapons.
I'm fine. I'm really trying to picture Debo getting his ass kicked by what's a child star? Give me some time.
Yeah, like seeing it live action will be
Julie from the Spy Kids movie. Imagine the little boy from the Spy Kids movie. That little boy beating up Debo's ass.
See, the Spy Kids only kind of work because of like the gadgets they use, which it is Batman and Robin, so there are gadgets involved. So you can go, like using weapons and gadgets evens out playing. But like, I'm not like if I see Damien just throw like a 2-piece, I'll be like, I'm not buying it, dude. Not buying. Like I can buy it in the comics and cartoons.
Yeah, because
but seeing a live action will be
over 10.
That's gonna be an interesting transition.
I'm sure they'll probably go teenage because I'm sorry, it's not gonna work. Like imagine because Robin's also very handsy, so he throws hands. So I can't picture like a little 10-year-old, 11-year-old going up to a grown man and just going bang, knock him out. Even if you had a knife, I'm sorry, with a little boy that's coming at me with a sword, even then I'm just like.
So the next movie, I think this one is like the weakest out of the movie group. Is Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. It's based on Tom King's comic. I don't think Tom King's all that great of a writer. I think he is very repetitive with his writing style of its deconstruction. Every character is depressed. Once you read one Tom King story, you have almost essentially read any and all Tom King stories. I think he uses a lot of his comics as therapy. That's just not quite for me.
I think Tom King I read some of his stuff. He starts off strong, and I'm not sound repetitive on this one, but At some
Also,
way, yes, I'm like, what?
like I know you watch some of the like CW shows more than I did. How
Yeah,
was the Supergirl TV show? Did you watch it?
I tried. I truly tried every single time, but I just
Yeah, see,
it
like I
was
didn't
so
hear a lot
good.
of great reviews for it. So, I'm like, it's kind of, I will say this is the
Very
biggest risk of
impressive.
you you're going with a character that, had a TV show. TV show didn't quite do well. Plus, when it comes to Supergirl, I don't know how many people quite care for it, but I do respect of, hey, you want to do uh like a female lead character. Um, does kind of feel like you have Superman Legacy
Mhm.
and you have Batman. So you do have some two A-list characters. Authorities B-list. Um, like most people have never heard of the Authority. Then you have Supergirl, who is
Okay.
kind of like a B-list character as well. Like, will people care? Um, I think this is
Good
one of the
point.
biggest gambles. Actually, and the next one I think is also going to be a big gamble too. Um, which they have Swamp Thing.
Actually, I don't think it's gonna be that big of a gamble because you wanna know why? You're good with authority and well, maybe authority in this game, but SWAT thing would be a good way to introduce it because, in my opinion, you're coming across superhero fatigue. I myself am almost getting it. At least with Swamp Thing, if it starts off in its own little corner where it could be part of the DCU, which we know it is, but if you start it off where it's kind of just like as a basic monster flick or just in general magic and things, you can attract a lot of people where it goes like it's not superhero, it's superhero, but it's not really. I
Yeah,
can
you know
see
what
them
though? I
going
do
through that.
think Swamp Thing actually might do better because they can do a horror approach, which then creates the whole almost taking a different like movie type approach.
Yeah,
Um, the TV show did very well. Only reason why it did get canceled was because hey,
North
North
Carolina.
Carolina didn't give the tax break that they were looking forward to. Sorry about it. I say it
Yeah.
kind of killed that show.
You know what also does
But
though? This also introduces magic, and remember we talked about this earlier.
yeah,
It's going to be a magic, as in magic has a sacrifice to it. Like Marvel does more of magic. It's fine and everything. There are rules to it, but this
and
one
you know
shows
what
that.
though? I think one reason why this also works is you had the Black Adam movie that bombed, but at work, the people who have seen it, they saw Doctor Fate and they were like, he's a Doctor Strange knockoff. What is DC doing? Comic fans don't know. So can't really do a Doctor Fate movie. Feel
No,
like Zatanna, you can't quite do her because you go, all right, well, if you do her, people are just gonna compare her to Scarlet Witch. Um, you could do John Constantine, which I mean,
be the smarter choice, honestly.
but I will say I do like Swamp Thing because a monster, cool design.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? You could actually end it with end movie. You could actually end like Constantine walking to the swamp because Constantine actually spun out of Swamp Thing.
Yeah, so it gives you a chance to build the magic universe. Honestly, I've been saying this for a minute. Constantine should be DC's answer to Doctor Strange because one, Constantine, I'm pretty sure a lot of people say this. Constantine is the occult magic, which is more of sacrificial magic, where if I do this, something bad is gonna happen. Plus, you have more of it's a way to introduce people to a character that's not a superhero per se. So that way, again, it's getting something that's fresh out there. Plus,
Yeah.
you have Matt Ryan and Constantine's still fresh in everybody's mind from the
You know what?
CW.
I think that might be one reason is last couple years there's been rumors of like Keanu Reeves coming back to do like a Constantine too, and then you have like so much of through the CW shows Matt
Mm-hmm.
Ryan's version of Constantine that, hey, Swamp Thing only had one season. It did really well. Only reason why I got canceled was, again, tax
No,
breaks.
yeah.
That they were expecting. North Carolina said, no. So but sticking with it, that's 5 movies. I think it's kind of a mixed bag of the movies. I think Swamp Thing should be good. I actually look forward to that more than anything. Just because even there was a movie in the '80s. Some people still like it. I think some of the effects are outdated, but it's an old movie. It is what it is.
Here's a question, because you told me this. Constantine, because you know me, I'm a big fan of Asian characters in comics, so
Yeah.
new generation could come in. You told me Constantine does age in the comics at one point.
He does in the classic Vertigo comics.
Mm-hmm. Now,
he did age.
They incorporate Keanu.
So before the whole reboot happened, like the New 52 or whatever, and he got put into the main Marvel, or not Marvel, DC universe. He aged and actually died at the very end as kind of like an old man. Well, might have died, might have not. It's very up to your interpretation type thing. Good ending, but you did see the character age from like issue 1 came out in the 80s, and then like issue whatever, I forgot what it was, but it was like in the hundreds. Last issue ended in like 2010, 12-ish, something like that, 11. Before New 52 reboot happened, and then he became young again.
Yeah. So here's a question: could they at any time bring back Keanu Reeves if they wanted to do this? Because I know James Gunn.
You know what? I think they could. Also, hey, Keanu is money.
Sure.
Keanu is money. Like, why wouldn't you? I mean, I wouldn't call it Constantine 2. Like, call it Constantine and give it like a sub name, just because of how long it's been since the Keanu Reeves movie came out. But sticking with magic, they are doing an animated, the darker side of things, magic and monsters and stuff. They are doing an animated TV show called Creature Commandos. Superhero team of monster prisoners. It's going to be animated.
Yeah, actually, they were on Batman Brave and the Bold, because I was just watching Brave and the Bold like literally about a month or two ago. And
honestly, I was gonna say like they do show up in an episode of that. You know what? I respect it, just because animated TV show, you can kind of do more experimental things.
Yeah, of course.
Plus, doing a team up of monsters. Hey, Universal was gonna try to do that with their Dark Universe. Sorry, Tom Cruise, but your movie sucked, and it kind of took the whole Dark Universe plan. And you haven't seen like a monster team up since essentially old Universal monsters of not really a team up, but they had like crossovers of like Frankenstein and the Wolfman, Dracula and so, and the Mummy.
King Kong and Godzilla beating each other up and then coming together fighting Robo Godzilla. Does that count as a monster?
Yeah, I mean, so the fact is like doing a team up monster hero thing. Hey, congratulations, you found a niche Marvel hasn't done yet.
That's sad. That's sad. That's all people want to just say for like the next few years. Like, oh, y'all did this, but we'll do it better. Just saying. And then you got, James Gunn around, who's also Marvel before DC. So it's kind of sad. And then, like I said, I don't know. Hopefully, I get the willpower to really want to go, and I hope they make it good. The trailers will always be off the chain, but I hope they make it enough to where Tyson want to go to the theaters and want to watch it.
You know what? And then the other TV show, um, is Waller, which is Amanda Waller, um, based on like the Suicide Squad. In fact,
Yeah.
they're even bringing back the Suicide Squad actress who played Amanda Waller
Yeah, the only
from the last
Viola,
season. She did great. She did
she
great.
does.
She fits it perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I don't know if I would have brought it back just because if you want to, if you're gonna reboot a universe,
Mm-hmm.
completely reboot a universe and recast everybody. I know they're
Yeah.
not because James Gunn did the Peacemaker show.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, the Waller show is supposed to be a hey, this is in between Peacemaker season 1 and 2. So there will be a season 2 of Peacemaker eventually.
So here's the question: Is I know that they said they left it open for Gal Gadot and Ben Affleck, which apparently he's also working on some of Batman sequels and stuff like that. And
I want to bring back anybody. If you're gonna reboot a universe, like if you bring them back, different characters. Like Jason Momoa, if you brought him back, do Lobo. Like don't bring him back as Aquaman.
I agree. No, I completely agree. Plus, I think somebody said, I thought somebody said it'd be kind of cool if Jason Momoa was both Aquaman and Lobo in the same universe. I was like, no, that'd be weird. Like, in my opinion, that'd be very, very, very weird. I can't see it. I think Jason Momoa make an awesome Lobo. But overall, I said, if you're gonna do it though, pull the trigger and wipe it and start from scratch. But that's how James Gunn probably saying it's my baby. I want to protect it at all costs. So it's kind of his way of saying this is my footnote into the.
How do you feel about Amanda Waller TV show? Like, do you think that is a character that can carry an entire TV show?
Yes. Honestly, I think so. She's perfect for. Remember Justice League Unlimited? And remember how she was like the only one who really thought about we are sitting one only who really thought about we are sitting ducks to use superheroes up in the sky. She's honestly one of the very few people who can sit up here and not go toe to toe with Batman, but sit and talk to Batman and say like, "You got a lot. You talking a lot of issues. You have a lot of shit there, rich boy." And obviously knowing that, I know your secret. If you ask me, I think she's perfect for that special ops, running the government behind the scenes. And if push comes to shove, like she seems like the type where she would know who Vandal Savage is. She would know who Lex Luthor is behind the scenes, and if he came president.
So well, I wonder if her TV show will be more or less like almost like a Suicide Squad show. Mm-hmm. But her kind of like handpicking different villains or stuff, going, hey, so these villains exist in this universe, and then going, these are the ones I need for this mission. And you know what? Maybe having like 2 different villains, 2 different missions going on same time, like hey, in like Brazil, I got villains doing this.
It would work because of that if they do it. But if they play their cards right, you have to be. I'll say this: I've been reading a lot of because I'm reading on the webtoons and manga and stuff like that. If you play it right, and you can make it how can I say this, a political show in terms of if I send this villain out, frame the current regime or whatever, and have them owe me, then that's another thing I have in my back pocket.
You know what?
For the US.
You ever seen The Blacklist?
Yes, I've seen bits and parts of it. Yes.
You know what? That character, Reddington.
Yes. Parents love that.
Kind of like the hey, I'm a crime lord, and I'll do like villainous things, but I'm also like am helping save the day, like with the FBI or whatever. Obviously Amanda's not a villain, depending on who you ask. But the whole living in that dark gray area of like I'm doing good, but I'm also doing like very shady tactics.
Yeah,
So I think maybe if you like something like the blacklist with her,
no, and that'd be perfect because, like I said,
I think that could actually,
and,
you know what? I'm kind of actually digging this idea now. Won't lie.
Mhm. And I think, like I said, I think that'd be a good idea because now you can set up like something like Illuminati or something like what's what I'm looking for. Remember Young Justice? How you have the light.
Yes.
So with Amanda Waller, you can start setting up this sort of faction of only deep-seated government people would know the real behind the scenes of the shit. And then you can have this also know the deep behind the scenes where they can all come together and they will all be like, look, you don't step on my toes, I won't step on your toes. You can set it up in a very intricate way where you kind of have all this espionage mind sort of behind the scenes. And it's also good because now you can connect it with Batman, who's, let's be honest, that's his niche. That's his thing. That's where he thrives on is knowing stuff that people like Superman, people like Wonder, well, no, Wonder really know that, but people like Superman and all of them really wouldn't know. But people like Batman, Green Arrow, what's other superhero I probably know stuff like that. Can you introduce Mr. Terrific into the bunch? You know, the really smart superheroes that would know like all the behind the scenes of the politics and stuff like that. I think it's a good avenue to go. So yeah, I think Amanda Water could hold it. I think she could do it. And it's a good way to also introduce Lex Luthor again, but in more of a businessman sort of meet the politician sort of way. So yeah, I think I would enjoy the show if they do it right and they get the right writers.
Yeah. Then another TV show. Honestly, this character I don't care about. For some
Mm-hmm.
reason, internet loves this character.
Oh,
I don't see how. I mean, I could kind of do, but I think it's he has one little shtick, and it's just not for me.
mm-hmm.
Booster Gold. It's a comic relief
Man,
character who's a time traveler and
yeah,
uses like future technologies that are kind of like basic in his time, but
yeah.
basically he has superhero syndrome. Comes to our time to basically pretend he's a superhero using like future technology.
Mm-hmm.
I think this works very well with James Gunn. In his type of humor.
Yeah.
I think this is actually very perfect for James Gunn. So I think this show will probably be the best possible, just because of how his crash humor is. Um, I don't really care for the character, but I can see how this will, at least like a season, it works very well.
I can agree with you. I've never been a big Booster Gold fan. Never really seen the hype for him. But then, I'm
But
a person where very few characters I see the hype for. Like
yeah,
Deadpool. I'm not really a Deadpool fan, but I get like people liking him. He doesn't do nothing for me, but Booster Gold falls in that spectrum. Like, he's interesting. I don't think he could carry the whole season, but
I do
he can do
respect
it.
the contrast of hey, there's going to be an animated show of nothing but monsters. You have Amanda Waller, which they didn't say Blacklist. In my head, I'm kind of picturing Blacklist because
Yeah.
that kind of works out with the whole government agency co-ops type things. And then you have like a very comedic character with Booster Gold. Um, Interesting contrast,
Fair, fair.
class in different nets. Um,
I'm still trying to figure out. I'm sure you can find something loose to go, but for me, I'm just it's time. So
yeah,
you got that.
I mean,
I'm
it's just not my cup of tea, not my character.
yeah.
I don't know. Think we're kind of good on that. And then you have Paradise Lost, which will be a drama-focused Genesis political intrigue on Themyscira, which is Wonder Woman's island. But it's supposed to be a prequel. So they're like, oh, it's going to be very Games of Thrones-y, which by the time this comes out, like, we will be still kind of, well, almost like a decade past Game of Thrones, which I guess House of Dragons there. So, like, that still kind of brings some interest of a medieval-esque, I guess, fantasy, political intrigue thing. But it's also, like they said, Wonder Woman's not in it. This is like pre-Wonder Woman Themyscira. So it's like, cool. I want a cheeseburger, but without the meat. It's kind of how I feel. Like, I don't care how good the bun is. I don't care that, we got a brochet bun with this. No patty, though. Like, feel like you're going to do Wonder Woman type thing. Wonder Woman should be in it.
Okay, so here's the question. I'll play devil's advocate on that. Krypton, Superman. That's okay. I mean, it wasn't bad. I don't know. I forgot how many seasons it got. I kind of buzzed out because I think it got canceled off of Sci-Fi and then went somewhere else. And
yeah, see, I know it was kind of short-lived. Like, that's a show. Like, I don't know. I feel like maybe a season, but it's also like, hey, at least with General Zod, he lived and became a villain for Superman. Like,
yeah.
Like, how many Themyscira villains are there in Wonder Woman? They're almost all kind of like allies for the most part.
I mean,
almost all her villains are like outside of the island.
You could do like a Xena thing where some of the gods become enemies of the Amazons, and then Wonder Woman starts fighting the gods more, like Ares, or who's the biggest dick in Greek mythology?
And also, honestly, I'll admit I didn't watch the Krypton show because I was like, hey, the brief introduction of, hey, their planet was fucked. They blew up. Oh well.
You are gonna die.
Yeah. Like, honestly, like the 5-10 minutes thing has always been like good enough of Krypton for me.
Wasn't bad. I'll say that. But for a utopian, I guess they were trying to show that Krypton wasn't all a utopia. It was kind of built sometimes. So I guess that was alright. But overall, it wasn't a bad show. I mean, the effects were good. They had Lobo on there. He was kind of short, if you ask me. Like I said, kind of somewhere towards the end. I think they had a season 2. I kind of just lost interest and I stopped watching it. But I don't know. I can see, like, who, like I said, who's the biggest dick out of Greek mythology? Like, out of all the gods, who's the biggest dick?
I mean, when it comes to Greek mythology, like, I mean, you have like Zeus, you have Hercules, you got like a bunch of different. Which I'm wondering, like, how much are they gonna lead into, like, the Greek gods in it, or is it just? I don't know.
Because you could have one of them become Wonder Woman's.
Kind of like how Supergirl, I think, is the weakest movie. I think Paradise Lost might be the weakest show.
That might be. I won't lie. Watch how we both sit up here and go, I can't believe you watching this show. And then come back and, dude, did you see that? That was amazing.
True. Now, I will say, when it comes to TV shows, this last one I'm actually most excited for. Lanterns, Green Lantern Corps. Like I said earlier, Hal Jordan's one of my favorites. Yeah. Him and John Stewart are doing basically a buddy cop to discover and unravel like a dark mystery. I think with the Green Lantern's powers and kind of explaining like constructs and stuff, works a little bit better as a TV show. than trying to do an origin movie where, sorry, but the Ryan Reynolds movie fucking sucked. Ryan Reynolds is not a bad actor, but that was a awful movie.
Didn't one of my friends sit there and go to the movie theaters and say the oath at the movie theater?
And you know what? I do like Hal Jordan, really popular actor, Green Lantern. John
Yeah.
Stewart, other really
Yeah.
popular Green Lantern, and in fact, like a lot of people, Hal's like the OG for them.
Yeah.
And then John Stewart,
Our
people
age
like
group.
our age, like 30. We grew
Yep.
up with John Stewart, with the animated DC universe of him
Yep.
being in Justice League. So it's like, yo, that is, I think, the perfect two Green Lanterns to like lead a show.
So this question for the newer generation. Would you say their Green Lantern is Jessica Cruz? Because I've seen her more in the media than Kyle on
Yeah,
there.
Jessica Cruz, yeah. Simon Bass, I don't think really has, like, he's kind of mentioned sometimes, but Jessica Cruz is kind of like more or less that one that I think a lot of the newer people like.
Yeah. But you know what though? You
Um,
can have a lot with her though. If you think about it, her thing of she's got I forgot what she has. Where she's afraid to go out her house, and the fact that she has the willpower ring, but it's kind of possessed. Yes, that's a story in itself that you can even have in a show.
yeah. Well, see, that's why I kind of like Hal Jordan, John Stewart, because you don't have to go super deep in the whole lore thing.
Okay.
Plus, with it being a dark mystery,
Mm-hmm.
you could have the Sinestro Corps, which is like an evil, yellow gang war to the
Yeah.
Green Lantern gang war. You could have them already introduced or not. They could be the new mystery. You could have in the comics before the Green Lanterns, you had the Manhunters, which were like robot automatons. They were like pre-cops by the Guardians. But you know they had no humanity, so they accidentally wiped out a whole sector. Which created the Red Lanterns from Rage. So you could have Red Lanterns being the dark mystery of hey, there's a missing sector, and then now like Green Lanterns are kind of like dying or whatever.
Yeah.
Or you could have hey, Manhunters were deactivated. Now they're reactivated. Who's doing this? Like, there's a lot of possibilities you can do with the whole dark mystery in space.
Well, what you could also do is
without it being like too in the weeds, I guess.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? But you know, I think doing hey, the mystery being we had robots before living Green Lanterns. Because I don't want to say humans, because there's only like at most 4 or 5 humans. And in this one we at least know there's 2, Hal and John. Who knows if Guy, Kyle, Simon, or Jessica is in there as well. I hope not, honestly.
I think Guy'd be a good person in the series too. If you did like a random cameo appearances from time to time, recurring appearance, I think he'd be pretty good in there. Because he'd be that character where he would lighten the mood up from time to time. So that would work.
But we've kind of talked about the 10 slated, like 5 movies, 5 TV shows. I think there's a lot of, especially on the movie side. I mean, not the movie side, but TV side. Besides, like the Green Lanterns, which you know have had like at least comic success in the 2000s of it being like sold as much as Batman in like 2006 ish with like 2010 ish with like Blackest Night.
Yeah.
Green Lantern was gangbusters. Everything else is kind of like B movies or B list characters, which I've bold strategy. I kind of get James Gunn took the Guardians of the Galaxy, which will B list, made him super popular. So maybe he thinks he can just take almost all the B list characters and make them popular for DC. I guess that's the logic.
You're introducing Marvel has a lot of characters they can introduce. DC has characters, but they've always stuck to their main 7.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm happy with this. So that way you can push out more characters and not letting more characters get shine.
I mean, me personally, I like honestly might sound basic. And you'd be like, oh, you're just doing what Marvel did. Who cares? I would have probably just as like a hey, since Zack Snyder's universe tried doing too much too fast and then became a random hodgepodge of random things.
Yeah.
Just do Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, and like maybe a Green Lantern, and then do Justice League. Like, don't risk it for the biscuit. You tried throwing. Last strategy was spaghetti on the wall. Let's go with the safest bet.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. I do respect some of these swings. Like, I am excited about Lanterns. I am excited about Swamp Thing. I do think, like I can see where Boots of Gold could be a success as a TV show. And you know what? I'm kind of. First, I was wondering if Waller could take her own TV show, but doing almost like a political espionage type thing. I'm picturing Blacklist. It might not be that. Might be completely disappointed in it. But right now, having Blacklist in my mind, I'm actually kind of looking forward to that. I can see where it could be good.
Yeah. I would move my universe. Honestly, I would love to do it where we start.
But what in the movie slate are you excited about, or like going? I'm not really digging this out of this announcement.
Honestly, none of them really got for interest. I'm really just. I would not. I'm like I told you. Like I'm at a point now where I'm like, just show me what y'all got. If I feel like it's gonna be interesting, I'll go watch it. If I not, show me.
And you know what? Like
before, I'm at a point now. I'm like, show me what y'all got first. It's so funny.
I understand. Like you know what? I completely get it because I'm also kind of like these. Like the things I'm saying, I'm excited about. I'm more intrigued. Like honestly, they're not even starting this universe till like 2 years from now. A lot of it has to do with with the Waller TV show. We already know that actress is carrying over.
Yep.
From the Suicide Squad movies. Every other character is kind of like question mark.
Yeah.
And like honestly, it's like, yo, who you casting? Like, what did this actually look like? Because
what is this overall universe? Where are y'all going? Like how?
Yeah.
Who's gonna
like they said this is like Gods and Monsters, but I'm like I don't know what this is quite leading up to or anything. Which you know maybe that's because Marvel, which is kind of smart on Disney and Marvel, they had like things lead into things, which led into things, which led into things, and not seeing how any of this could lead into almost anything.
There's a question for Marvel though, because I've noticed this. They never planned for it to be. Did they ever plan for it to be a shared universe, or did they just start with the Iron Man movie and then they just realized, oh crap, we can do more with this?
Yeah, see, I think there was plans of like trying to do an extended universe, but they also took baby steps of like maybe this works. And if this works, we can like slightly tease something. But it was more or less like a gamble at the beginning.
Okay. The only reason
That's
I
what
say
it
it
felt like to me
because
because you had Hulk, which is technically actually like was supposed to be the first movie in the Marvel universe because you had Tony Stark in the end credit scene. No one cared about but they dropped the Hulk because you had issues with the actor Edward Norton, which I think he's better than Mark Ruffalo. I would have loved to seen him come back over Mark Ruffalo. Just
yeah,
that's me personally. But I understand the actor and Marvel had issues behind the scenes
yeah,
with some producing credits and writing credits and stuff like that. Um, so he didn't come back. So instead of doing a Hulk 2 and other things, they were just like, yo, Iron Man. And then they just kind of treated like Iron Man was the first movie. And in fact, they didn't even do Iron Man to Cap right away. They did Iron Man, then Iron Man 2. Iron Man got a sequel before, and with that sequel being successful, that's when they were like, all right, now let's actually branch out to the other characters.
yeah. Now, see, the only reason why I asked that is because with Arrowverse, as you know, I like the Arrowverse. I mean, it's hit and miss a lot, but that's pretty much how they did with the Arrowverse. Was they didn't mean for it to be what it is. They even said we kind of just started with Arrow, keep it grounded, and then that's when they started playing around with other stuff. And then by season 2, that's when they
Yeah,
started playing around.
they waited till they had two, at least season 1 without hinting at introducing other heroes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't really start that until maybe season 2 or 3 or whatever. Hey, let's get one under our belt, do a sequel, and then
Mm-hmm.
hey, if we can land that, now let's branch.
Yeah, they
Which I
did.
think that was a fault of last DC universe was Man of Steel was success, and then they quickly was like, all right, you're not getting a sequel. It's more or less a Batman movie with you as kind of the antagonist. Wonder Woman's thrown in. Doom, they tried throwing in kitchen sink rather than just kind of going, hey, let's see if we can land 2 in a row first.
I'll say this: Wonder Woman was the best part of that movie for me. That's why I said I liked it more than Man of Steel because Wonder Woman to me at the end of that stole the show. For some odd reason, it just hit differently when she came down, and they all started fighting Baby Doomsday. To me, that's what saved the movie. That's why I put it above Man of Steel. That last little action sequence, I was like, okay, I can give you a 7.6. Man of Steel 7. That number should have been 7.6. Justice League, I give it an
Understandable. I, you know what? I think when it comes to this, feel like we continue talking, we'll just kind of go off track or whatever.
Yeah,
Think we kind of I think we're both kind of on the wait and see, really.
yeah.
Announcement, some intriguing stuff. Some I'm not quite digging at all, but at least some intriguing stuff. But more or less, we're both kind of on the. It's
Let's
too
see what
soon.
you got.
Let's wait and see. Come on.
Yeah. Show me what y'all got, and then once you show me what you got, then I'll give you my full honest opinion because
Yeah,
there's been a lot of hit and misses with y'all movies.
and me personally, I also think, hey, don't bring back any of the old actors and their old road.
I agree with that. If you're gonna do it,
If you bring them back as a new character.
mm-hmm. As much as I love your Viola Davis, I'm pretty sure I'm butchering her name. As much as I love her in her role, wipe it clean. Just wipe it completely clean. Start anew. And that way nobody can think that, oh, is this connected to the old universe? Wipe it
Yeah,
clean. Honestly,
think
even with the Hulk, I didn't think that the Hulk movie was supposed to be a recap. I just thought it was
well,
just
see, you know
movie
what though? They waited so long from Hulk movie to Avengers 1. Plus at that time you had the Hulk movie, then you had that other Hulk movie. before, like, they had like two Hulk movies like 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
You had one in 2000, or 2 years in a row. You had one in 2004, which was kind of bad. Everyone hated it. You had the Edward Norton one in 2006. Some people liked it a little bit more. I thought it's really good. In fact, I like watching it. Still really good. Last scene or whatever kind of sucked because CGI just wasn't quite there for the Hulk Abomination fight. But still kind of a good fight. I think they were a little bit like 2-3 years too soon on doing that ambitious of a CGI fight.
Yeah.
But 2006, 2010, and then you had Iron Man 1 and 2, Thor, Captain America, before doing Avengers. People I think forgot about Edward Norton's Hulk. Them kind of just going, hey, we didn't do a Hulk movie, but people kind of know enough about the Hulk.
Yeah.
At least basically, because there was 2 movies prior.
Well, also, let's be honest though, Hulk. I think more people knew about Hulk than Iron Man, just because they're like, "You won't like me when I get angry." That's like iconic. So
yeah, like there's certain things about Hulk people kind of know. Plus, there was like a TV show in the 70s.
exactly.
But yeah, so both waiting on the whole wait and see thing, and you know what? I think this will be a wrap for the night. I think we will do like episode 2 on Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Makes sense to me.
You want to?
I mean, hey, I'm cool with
Anything
that.
you want to say, Dion?
You said anything else I want to say?
Huh?
You said what was the last part?
I was like, any last words you want to say?
I just hope to have a good. I'm looking forward more to the podcast with you, man. More talk about comics and see where everything else goes. More nerd talk. And like I said, anything that you have for me to suggest to read, this way I'm reading along with people. Like anything that you suggest for me to kind of look at, I'll give it a shot. See what and give my opinion about it. So that could be another thing we could talk about. So other than that, hey,
yeah, and hopefully the weather gets better, and I don't feel like I'm losing my voice. But goodbye.
Yeah.